Good evening and welcome to the program. My name is Emmanuel Ouma. This is The Insight, and today, this Friday, we want to speak about the state of our nation. It has been a lot of roller coaster and things have been happening throughout the week, and of course we have been celebrating this administration third year in office. What are the hits, the misses, and what are the lessons learned, and what should we carry moving forward? To help me discuss this issue is senior political analyst, Madam Davin Akinyi. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Asante.
And of course, senior political analyst too, Mr. Moses Nyanduga. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Mr. Moses Nyanduga, I want to start with you in this category. Can you kindly let us know what you think of the state of our economy today?
Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel.
Yes.
As you know, I do love African proverbs, and today I'll take you to Gabon.
All right.
There is a famous proverb among the Gabonese
What
which
does it say?
says, the feathers of a dead eagle cannot protect you for long. Kenya Kwanza regime is dead, not dead in its function, but in its believability and practicability of whatever we stand for as young people in the society.
Yeah.
Politically, we are heading into the wrong direction. With the ongoing by-election campaigns, you already see some of the vestiges which tries to stifle and to polarize our kind of democracy, which we have enjoyed since independence. Economically, we are at a very big crossroad. I'll say Kenya is facing today economic quagmire. You see inflation rate, you see unemployment, you see in fact, millions of jobs are at risk. Yet the state is doing nothing. Socially, morally, politically, emotionally, we are down.
But Moses, to be fair, the what do you call it? The inflation rate has reduced from 9 to 4. That's a very good thing.
Yes. You know, economically, we don't measure the inflation rate and directly and how it affects the lives of the people. I think we should have a look at how this affects the life of local Mwananchi. What about you yourself? A young Kenyan who is expected to take your children to school. What about you, a young Kenyan who is expected to visit some of the medical facilities in the country? Has the inflation rate, whether it has reduced or went up, has it affected your life in a positive manner?
But inflation affects the prices, right?
It affects the prices,
Yes.
but has it affected some of the very major and key sectors in the society? Because in this case, we are talking about the education sector. The food we consume, for us to achieve food security in the society, which is of course one of our Vision 2030 agendas and Africa's Vision 2063. Even if the inflation rate has reduced, remember, even the exchange rate, the currency, we are talking a situation whereby the Kenyan shilling against the US dollar has improved. But remember, the Central Bank of Kenya can even alter how we transfer international currencies and exchanges.
Well, I understand that one, and that one is a little bit of economics, so we'll have fiscal policy and monetary policy, but I'll explain that later.
Yes.
Madam Davin, can you come in and tell us what you think about the state of our nation tonight?
The state of the nation?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I think as a nation, we are not in a very good space. In terms of economy, there are so many cases of people going hungry, and we have to look not only like a person, but so many people. The second thing is about on the security. People are not secure anymore. The government, of course, is supposed to protect people, but people are not protected in any way. No, most of the people are not protected. People live in a very insecure place, and mostly in Nairobi, you've heard of recent cases. There are so many robberies and robberies with violence. So I think in terms of the economy is bad. These people who are stealing, they're stealing probably because they are hungry or something. So there is a lot of, the state is not in a good place currently, according to my view.
All right, but just on that, we've seen the cabinet secretary in charge of the security docket, national interior, that is Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen, going around and hosting Jukwaa la Usalama. I think that's a very good initiative, right?
Yeah, I think that is a very good improvement, and we would want him to do more on that. And I think it's a collective responsibility. People should also be responsible for the security of other people. Yeah. So he's doing a good thing.
That's wonderful. Moses,
Yes.
I'd like you to come here. Have we lived up to the spirit of our constitution?
Not really. The Article 1 of the Kenyan Constitution states clearly that power belongs to the people. In chapter 1 of the Constitution is sovereignty of the people and supremacy of the Constitution.
Yeah.
The Kenyan Constitution as it stands today, it's being abused.
How?
By our leaders in all levels
How?
of governance.
How?
This is how. We have seen extrajudicial killings in this country. Is it in the Constitution? We've seen even some of the candidates, political candidates, being vetted when they have cases in court. In fact, that infringes chapter 6 of the Kenya's Constitution, leadership and integrity.
But
we have seen police brutality in this country. Some of the people, we even meet their victims every day, yet they walk freely today. Is it up to our Kenya's Constitution? When the Kenya's Constitution states very well, it's the role of the government to protect its people. Have a look at how our country itself. Is the Kenyan government protecting the people? Are we living to the terms where we were saying, when Kenya's Constitution was promulgated in August 2010, it was one of the best in the world? Have we lived to its terms? We were talking of a situation whereby if we truly followed the chapters of the Constitution, we were to be food secure. We were to have a very well orchestrated and running education system. Our health system was supposed to be aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, specifically chapter 6 and chapter 4. Are we doing something, Mr. Emmanuel? You know, when we talk about the leaders abusing the Kenya's Constitution, we have seen what's been happening. The cases of corruption and graft in this country. Have all these leaders been arrested? Because if chapter 6 is saying very well, you should be barred from running or contesting to be a leader in this country if you have grossly violated the Constitution.
Yeah.
Tell me, some of the leaders even have educational certificate with questionable.
But you see, the people who should adjudicate that is the courts of law, and they haven't done that yet.
Yes.
So it is you are always innocent until proven guilty, right?
No.
Yes, indeed.
I think the judiciary, which has the mandate to translate the Constitution, has been masked by the executive. And that is why you see some of the serious lawyers who understand how a country should be governed in this case, people like Nelson Harvey, trying very hard to even urge the CJ to resign if she cannot live to the terms of the judiciary.
All right.
Yes.
Madam Davin, what's your say? Do you think that the country has lived up to its constitution spirit?
No, I totally think that the government,
Yes.
with the government, it hasn't upheld. It's because, first of all, the Constitution states that the rights of the citizens should be upheld. There is rights to living, and in Kenya right now, there is police brutality and people are being killed. So that is like taking someone's right of living. So there's a lot of things that has not been upheld by by people.
People in
by
power.
the government,
Okay.
yes. By the government, yes. So, yeah, I just think that's it for now.
But when you look at, for example, you did bring about integrity question, and you realize that most of these cases have not been adjudicated to their logical conclusion. So it means that the person who is accused is innocent until proven otherwise, right?
I think there's so much evidence to what goes on. And I think right now they are trying to bring their governors and they are being questioned, of which I totally support and I agree. But then once they are questioned and there's a mistake, why are there no consequences? You know, once some consequences are taken once there's some consequences that have been taken, then, you know, the other governors will be like, no, if we do this wrong, this will happen to us. But then there's no need for going to the Senate or probably going to the Parliament, having all the meetings just to prove if someone is guilty or not, or probably finding someone guilty that is just goes scot-free. I think that is so unfair.
No, they don't go scot-free. One of that is the former Kiambu governor, who is currently in jail behind bars. It's called Ferdinand Waititu. Yeah, he's behind bars. So it simply means that at least there's something that is being done, right?
What about the governor who, like the one, I think the one for, is it Nakuru? The one who just took some millions of money, and then there's just one small Mabati that was there. What do you think of that?
I'm not
I
sure,
think if you follow, you'll see it.
Okay, but now on the question of leadership and integrity, it is quite a thorny issue. Mr. Moses, yes. What kind of leaders do we want as a country? And what kind of leaders do we get
I'll say that the leaders we want, it's not a group of what I'll call puppets in this country. We need transformational leaders. There is a big difference between a leader and a politician. And remember, the windmill follows the direction of the wind. You know, you cannot choose a tuk-tuk and believe or expect the tuk-tuk to behave just like a Mercedes-Benz. When we were empowered by the Constitution, we were free. Our people fought really hard for the independence and democracy we enjoy today. Millions of Kenyans were killed by the imperialists and the colonialists in this country. Up to this time, when you have a look at the crop of leaders we have, there was a time, Emmanuel, when we were saying, huh?
Yes.
60 years after the independence, we wanted to see our young people going to school. We wanted to see our people having access to quality healthcare.
Yeah.
We wanted to see a well-secured country. Our infrastructure was to develop. But the leaders we have today are misleaders. Let me just say, call a spade a spade. And we expect, moving forward, and there is nothing like moving forward, from 2027,
Yes.
I expect us to vote not for puppets, but for transformational leader.
What do you
And
mean by puppets?
puppets are just a crop of leaders whose interest for material wealth is totally insatiable. They'll get in as a leader, loot, divide, loot. In fact, looting is the only thing they know. That is a puppet. And again, you know, when we talk about the puppet, we are also referring to the foreign policy. We want leaders who are in love, not with money, but who are speaking the hearts and minds of the people. If we Kenyans, we uphold our values, we are Africans. When we say an African is not a gay, we want our leader to uphold the same. Not a situation whereby you'll go to the United Nations General Assembly and vote in favor of LGBTQ just to favor your masters. We know majority of them, their masters are in Great Britain, France, and United States of America. We need people who are Africans, not because they were born in Africa, but because Africa was born inside them. And the truth is, when we maintain our culture and when we show and take our people to the right direction, that is who a transformational leader is.
Madam Davin, what kind of leaders do you foresee in Kenya? What do you want to see in Kenya?
I think we should, and I said this last time on the show, I think we should vote for people who are ready to work for the people, who have passion for the people, not passion for the money or the benefits that they're going to get. I think that we need leaders who can change Kenya. At the moment, we are not in a good state, but I would wish that we could pick on leaders who have the best interest of the people at heart, and people who are radical, people who are ready to change, people who are ready to listen to themselves, people who are ready to lead well. I think when we have good leaders, things just move on the right path.
Currently, we don't have good leaders?
There are few good leaders,
Okay.
but most leaders, you know, it depends on the intention of someone. Some people get into power with malicious intentions just to loot or to pick whatever they can eat. They're like, whatever, let's just eat for now, we are there. But I think when we want a leader, someone who will be like, let everyone at least acquire a good position. Everyone can get something. Let's not only consider ourselves. You know, people are human beings and you're really human beings. Let others also have something to breathe, or let others also breathe. As much as you're eating, let other people breathe.
All right. Mr. Moses,
Yes.
the president said that he walks by faith, you guys walk by sight. Isn't that a good thing?
You know, Emmanuel, we have said times without numbers that in this case we don't need puppets. And you know, the problem with the religion today is that anybody who can recite a verse or a Bible quote is being regarded as a holy person. I'll say that
Very funny.
the mistake we are making as a country is to believe people who are portraying theological characters when it comes to serious matters of leadership. Mr. President, maybe he's a good man, he upholds his faith and the rest, but I'm here challenging him. If he's a good man and he truly upholds his faith, then we want to see young people who are arrested for demonstrating and protesting because they were demanding better standards in the society to be released. If he's a man who upholds his faith, we want to see him releasing help loan to students. We want to see him streamlining education sector. We want to see him removing the so-called new funding model.
But you saw yesterday there was a report, I think, by the PS
Yes.
of basic education, saying that they are currently undertaking a wholesome reports in terms of getting to understand how many pupils are there in the school, and there are some 50,000 ghost students.
And that shows they're not serious. You know, if you are working in the Ministry of Education and you don't know the total number of students in the country, and you know the issue of ghost schools, I think these people should be arrested. Even the PS himself is coming to tell us they're investigating on that. Some of the ghost schools were also polling stations during the last election. And now, tell us, who has been disbursing this amount of money to the ghost schools? Who is the master of this ghost school? And how many teachers do these ghost schools have in total? Because you cannot say we are losing billions of shillings every year in funding ghost schools. So I'll say that these people should be arrested. That's number one. Number two, if the president himself is upholding his faith, please, Mr. President, just save this country. The education sector is falling. As I speak to you now, lecturers are on strike. We students, majority of us have not received our HELB loans. The new funding model is giving our parents a hard time. And therefore, he might be a good man of his faith. Maybe in future we shall see that. But as things stand now, I'll say those are just, you know, promises of a naked man must be forgotten once the clothes are back on.
Okay. This is a family-friendly program, eh?
Yes.
But in any case,
Family.
Madam Davin, the problem of corruption has been glaring as much, especially in the government, but the president has committed to himself to fight corruption. Do you believe or do you think that the criminal justice system and the institutions that are mandated to fight corruption are doing their best, or?
No, I don't think if they're doing their best. Because if they were doing their best, there's some things, okay, assuming right now you steal my phone, for instance, right? And there are some things that are just too obvious. There's just evidence that can be seen. But still those people are walking out here scot-free.
But you see, the law doesn't work on emotions.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But if there is like a little bit of evidence that can be gathered, let's see some action being taken. Let's see some consequences upon those who are practicing corruption so that we can end this corruption. And please, if you see someone making some, for instance, if there's a corruption case going on, can you let us report those who are involved in corruption, let the people do their work. And I think both the bodies that are trying to fight corruption and people should cooperate so that the corrupt leaders or the corrupt people can be arrested to avoid more and more corruption.
Now, the president called out parliament over corruption and Parliament fought back. Do you think we are sincere?
No, I think there's a lot of incorporation. The guys are not cooperating well, which is so bad. So we are not sincere in that case.
Well, Mr. Moses, are we sincere?
Not at all. You know, the good thing with you, Emmanuel, and with all of us is that we must just call a spade a spade. The executive arm of government has totally bullied and masked the legislature and the executive, and we must just say this. When you see Mr. President questioning accountability of the parliament, then it must raise an eyebrow. Parliament itself constitutes of 290 members of parliament, constitute 47 women rep and 12 nominated MPs, majority of whom are allied to Mr. President. If he is aware of any culprits within the parliament buildings who has been receiving corrupt amount of money, then is the one, in fact, to summon them or even inform the judiciary. But Mr. President himself has misused the parliament. You saw during the so-called finance bill and whatever, to say the truth. And one day you'll bear me as a witness, Mr. Emmanuel. Some of these members of parliament were just voting yes because they were afraid of the system. When you see a frustrated member of parliament voting yes for a bill which he or she truly is aware that do not favor in any manner his people or our people, his constituents, then you must be aware that he or she is receiving maybe pressure from somewhere. So I'll say that, Mr. President, if you were sincere, then let this investigation start with your close allies. We want to see parliamentary leadership being vetted first. If they are corrupt, let all of them go to jail. And let it start with you yourself. Let's start with, during the BBI, you remember when we were talking about the lifestyle audit, we were saying,
Yes.
if we want good leadership in the country and to fight corruption, let it start with the president.
Okay.
If we want to see corrupt leaders,
Yeah.
from up the pyramid, down to the people.
All right, from top to bottom. Yeah, that is where we are leaving it at this particular point in time. We want to take a short break here at the Insight. Of course, the conversation is quite very significant in terms of where we are as a nation today, and our constitution, basically, the democracy of the country, the Bill of Rights, and the security of the nation, of course, the cost of living in the country. That is what we'll be discussing here tonight. But before that, we're going to take a short commercial break and come back. Don't go too far. My guests are still with me.
So last year you were nominated for the Digital Creators Awards.
Yes.
Yeah, and you bagged second place for Creator of the Year. Yeah, tell us about that experience.
But by the time I was leaving university, the vice chancellor had bought my art piece.
Wow.
To hang in his office.
Wow.
Yeah.
The difference between pointillism, stippling, dot mandala, and dotilism.
Okay. Mostly do art with dots, with lines, and I like to just think of myself as a versatile artist when it comes to patterns. What has words but never speaks?
So it's anime and cosplay in Kenya.
I came to know about anime when I was a teenager, because that's when I knew, oh, it's not a cartoon, it's an anime. And I came to realize, oh, it's a whole thing and it's a whole culture and it's a whole community behind it.
I remember I used to watch Dragon Ball Z, but that time I didn't know it was
Yeah,
anime.
true.
I thought it was a cartoon. Because
Yeah.
I was like, let me go watch cartoon.
Anime has been there, it's just growing with time and people are getting to know more about it.
This has been going on since 2016. Like, people have been meeting up for anime and DC, whatever nerdism you engage in since 2016.
Cosplay, basically, what it says is costume play.
Role play.
Yeah, so you dress up as a character from an anime, and that's just it.
So character likeness, how much do you look like the character?
Some parents see anime as just cartoons,
You're like the
which is true. What's your take on this perception?
Hizo cartoons zako zenye unawatch.
Also, it's cartoon. Me, it doesn't bother me at all. Most of the most popular anime we enjoy today, Jujutsu Kaisen, is for kids. Naruto is for kids. One Piece is for kids. So yeah, it's never bothered me when people are like, anime is for kids, anime is cartoons. I say this as someone who's been watching anime for 15 years. Anime is cartoons.
Everywhere GBS.
Well, thank you so much for staying with the Insight here at GBS Television. I'm still Emmanuel Oma, and with me are still senior political analyst, Madam Davina Kinyi and Moses Nyanduga. We were talking about the corruption, of course, before we took a break, and how that relationship between the executive and parliament has been for the past week or months because of the push and pull between the executive and the government and the legislature. And I want us to take this conversation forward, Madam Davina, and I want to come you to come in here. Do you believe, or do you think, or rather, what is your view in terms of how the government has addressed the cost of living generally of the country?
I'll say that the government has tried to address the issue of the economy, and this is by creating job opportunities for the youths in terms of, not youths only, like for everyone, in terms of contractors, the engineers, and the normal fundis. So this is in terms of the affordable houses.
Affordable housing.
There's so many affordable housing, and I think it's in each and every County.
Yes, yes, yes.
And the government has really done its best by providing opportunities. But then these opportunities are not so stable. There's some things that will take time. Then afterwards, you'll have to look for better jobs. But I'll give credit to the government for that. But again, I think the government is supposed to do more in terms of creating job opportunities. And I don't know if how this message can reach the government, but I have...
they're watching, they're watching.
Oh, of course. So I think the thing that should be done, there should be industrialization. For instance, in places like Miuru back in Migori County.
Murube.
Yes, there's so many mangoes. They can come up with an idea of maybe making juices or something of that sort, and then they supply to, you know, other parts of the country. I think that will create an opportunity for people in Miuru, that the products will also be used. So there are people who are selling their products, they get something. People working in the industry, they get something. I think that is more sustainable. Once there's a lot of industrialization in Kenya, of course, that will create also a job opportunity for so many citizens. We can do industries. I think the government can maybe collaborate and talk with other countries.
And even a
so
value
that,
addition.
Yes,
Yeah.
so that we could be supplying to other countries our products from the industries. So the industries will create a job, which is much sustainable. We can supply transporters. I think everyone will get a job that way. And most importantly, for things like assuming, in order to promote us as Kenyans, for instance, someone is making this furniture in Kenya, I think such people should be given more priority than people who have to like import them from outside. So once you're making this from here, I think more people will get the opportunity. The wood will come from Kenya, the labor, that will create an opportunity so that someone doesn't have to import but can promote our own so that the money also remains within and we can grow the economy. This circulation flow of the flow of money, we can just get some money. So I think let's all cooperate and see what we can do so that we create job opportunities. Because at the end of the day, so many things that happen in Kenya, the bad things, for instance, the insecurities, and you know, people are hungry. That's why people are going on the road. They are like ready to die because the economy is so bad. They're like, let me just go, and probably if I die, I die, you see. But if someone has something to focus on, for instance, a job, they have to take care of their life because they know in the evening they can get something to eat. So I think that is what is supposed to be happening right now. And I think that is the solution to everything that is going on right now.
Now, one of the things that the government has always held is that they have reduced the price of unga. Do you feel the same?
Okay, yes. But then it doesn't make so much difference. Yes. Okay, assuming they've reduced the price of unga to probably 200. If I'm not earning anything, don't make a difference to me. I'll still be suffering. And that's why so many people are even stealing in town. There's no job opportunity.
But that's
people
not
are
an
asking.
excuse.
No, I'm not saying that it's an excuse. I'm just trying to, you know, relate. Because so many people, you cannot just go out and steal. Of course, no, if you steal and you're found, you can go through the mob justice. So no one always wants that situation. But you see now, for some people, they're just lazy. But then for some people, it's more of like they don't have the job opportunities. Once job opportunity is created, I think all the other things will fall into place. And that's what the government should do.
Mr. Moses, the cost of living. The government gave us some fertilizers, you know, and there was a lot of talks in town.
Yes, I'll say this, Mr. Emmanuel. Let me give credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
For some reasons, I'll say the government has tried to at least boost our efforts towards food security in the country. However, you know, where we cross the line is this, everything works on policies. We want to see now legislations and policies, in fact, for even to reach presidential assent, so that moving forward, we won't have a situation whereby we are now begging the politicians to do this and to do this for our lives to change. If these people can just have an outlined structure whereby we have a working agricultural environment. Yes, the effects of climate change are being felt anywhere in the world, but that is not a reason. How many rivers do we have in this country? How many lakes? What is the role of National Irrigation Board if we can't irrigate some of the dry parts of this country?
Galala Kulanu is a very good project.
Very good. What about on the shores of Lake Victoria? What about on the shores? The so-called treaties which were signed by Europeans in 18 and something, barring East African communities from performing irrigation along the Lake Victoria. I think those are some of the rubbish. We should rubbish such treaties, to say the truth. These people just want us to suffer, so that when they come now, they'll be pretending to be giving us grants.
Yes.
I'll say we must live in a situation whereby we are the destiny makers for our future. Our destiny lies in our hand. Nobody's coming to save us. And for this reason, the government must rubbish all these treaties which were signed by the British in this country, perform irrigation along Lake Victoria, expand our irrigation along Gulalukulana, along River Yala and any other river. In addition to that, the housing one is a good story. As much as we have some problem with it, I think we should just have a structure on distribution of this. We don't want to see a situation whereby when you go to State House, they promise you a house. So we want a situation, there is fairness in this.
Yeah.
And our industries locally. As a young person, I used to hear of this industry, the Kikomi in Kisumu.
Yeah,
the one for cotton.
Kikomi cotton, yeah.
You know, politics in this country, we've had a challenge with it. We don't want to see a situation whereby industries or irrigation schemes in Turkana will stall because those people will refuse to vote for an elected leader. As an elected leader, you are leading all people, whether they voted for you or not. As much as the government is working on establishment of these industries, we want to see no region being left out. However, I'll say the government is doing something to better the life of Kenyans, but the rate at which they're doing it is still questionable.
Still questionable. And just on that job creation, you realize that the cabinet secretary in charge of labor, that is Dr. Alfred Mutua, came up with something called Kazi Maju. Would you like to get into something like that, Madam Davin?
Not really. I prefer to be in my country. If you're earning well, I think you just stay within your country. My dad has been to, has studied abroad and has been abroad. And trust me, East West home is the best. So we just, okay, this country belongs to us as Kenyans. Of course, those who can find opportunity to go Maju, it's okay, let them. But then as a country and as me, why would I go somewhere else and we need to develop our country? Yeah. So this country belongs to us. This nation belongs to us. Let's work on it. Let's do our best. Yeah, let's not go for the treaties. Okay, assuming that treaty is not going to help us, how are we benefiting from it? Because every time, it's not always good to beg every time so that you always, it can avoid the debts and we can always do our own thing. This country is ours and I need us to vote for political leaders who can change that and can, you know, people who have the best interest of the nation at heart. Yeah, let's just do this. If we decide now we are doing an irrigation somewhere this year, we just do it and go ahead. This is our own country, yeah. No one should, you know, give us instruction on how to do our stuff.
Oh, all right. And Moses, would you consider Kazi Maju?
I won't. Given a chance,
yeah, I won't.
I'll develop my country, and specifically the continent of Africa. I'll say the issue of brain drain in third world is an issue. Why should you, Mr. Emmanuel, learn in this country, be educated, then at the end of the day, you are going to the United States of America? Do you know it's the black people who build some of even the cities, some of the most famous cities in the world we are talking about today. It's the young people, more so from African continent, who are even working so tiresome. In some of the countries, their medical industries are growing and glowing globally as a result of the labor of these people. It will be better if we can develop our country. With the problems we have, we can develop our country. And for some of the problems are being faced by fellow Kenyans who are working, especially in the Gulf countries. For this case, I'll blame the government. You know, should we have a serious foreign policy, you won't find a Kenyan being treated like an animal, whether in Saudi Arabia or in Qatar. We are all human beings, irrespective of the race, and we must be treated with the dignity we deserve. Why should a Kenyan be treated like an animal? Do we have ambassadors? Do we have a consulate in Qatar to handle such issues? The issue of labor abroad has been an issue in this country for quite a long period of time.
Yeah.
Apart from the brain drain, we have seen some of the so-called agencies, you know, whereby they'll take you, they dump you in one of the countries. Once you are crying for help, they don't come around. They force you in signing some of the contract. All these people should be arrested. The so-called agency should be banned permanently, and we have a streamlined international policy. I only encourage educational exchange programs, whereby if you are a Kenyan student, you can go abroad and study. But when it comes to work, we should have a limited. And these few people should be on the basis of contract, and we should have a mutual, whereby if you are taking 100 scientists to Qatar, let them give us 100 engineers. I think on that basis, we can develop as a country.
On a quid pro quo basis.
Yes.
Just to add on top of that,
yes.
I think if Kenya has developed, because there's something called free education, or let's just say a subsidized education, I think you should give back to your people. Because where will the Kenyans teach you from primary to high school, or subsidize your fee to university, then you just fly out of the country? No, you have to give back and to develop from wherever you're coming from. In fact, start with your society, give back to your society, do your best. We are not trying to teach you for you to go and give it somewhere else. And of course, you're taking our knowledge somewhere else. Just give it back to us first before you go out there. And for the issue of those who are being mistreated in other countries, I think that is so bad. When foreigners come to Kenya, we welcome them so well.
Yes.
I've not heard of, you know. So I think if we have a very good program, our ambassadors should also take care of us outside, just as the way we are taking care of the foreigners. Let those other people also take care of us well. Yes, we are not going somewhere else to be mistreated, because we don't mistreat people. Let them not mistreat us. And our ambassadors from places where people are being mistreated, kindly take care of that for us.
Yeah. That's a very, indeed, mistreatment is quite absurd and unacceptable, especially in Gulf countries. That is where most cases are reported in. But now coming back to the country, the youth have been very vocal in whatever they want and what they are meant for. Do you think that your thoughts or your voices are being taken into consideration in the decision-making table, Madam Davin?
I'll say yes and no. So when we went out to the streets, I think the government listened to us.
Yes.
And some of the things that we were against were reconsidered, and no, because some of the changes have not been made. So at some point, the government has listened to some part of the youths, and at some point, no, because some of the issues have not been addressed. But I believe that the youths are radical, they have energy, and if we continue with the same spirit, I think we can push the government. If they cannot work, we just have to push them. So yes.
What about you, Moses?
You know, Mr. Emmanuel,
Yeah.
this is revolution, and revolution is not friendly most of the times. Whether these people consider our demands or not, I believe there must be a change in this country. And I'll support Davin.
Thank you.
She has said some of our demands were not considered, while some were considered.
Yeah.
But let's have a look at the weight. Our demands which were not considered were more weighty than the demands which were considered in this case. The only demand which was considered was just the withdrawal of the pernicious Finance Bill 2024. But when we took it to the street, we were not only talking about the language of the Finance Bill. We were saying people must go to school. People must have access to free or quality medical services in the country. What was the end result? The Kenya Kwanza regime now invited the so-called experts from Azimio. Was that one of our demands? In fact, Azimio La Umoja is the major beneficiary. After young people died in this country, they were appointed to be the cabinet secretaries. I'll say this, Mr. Emmanuel. This country has come a long way. These people will just consider our demands, because if they don't, then young people will say, yes, they'll also live a world of their own.
Yeah.
But it will be better if the government can listen to us and coexist with us.
Okay.
And they must also learn that people do have divergent opinions.
Okay, you wanted to add something?
It's just a funny story.
Yeah.
I think when we went to the street, most of the people who benefited from the entire, is it Gen Z mission?
Yeah, Gen Z strike.
Yeah, the people who benefited from the Gen Z strike were not even on the road.
Yes.
Almost all. I don't know what happened.
Poor
Because
politicians.
why would we die, sacrifice for someone else to enjoy our benefits? Yeah, it's so sad. It's like you went, did something bad, probably became sick, making someone else sick, someone who didn't participate in what you're doing. It is that bad.
All right, and of course we're taking a short break here as we speak about the young people and the Gen Z, and of course if their voices are being heard or taken into consideration in the decision-making table of the country. We are taking a short break here at GBS Television. When we come back, is the final stage of this conversation. Don't go too far.
Coming up on Mtaa Madness. Love collides with betrayal. An unexpected truth will shake the neighborhood to its core.
Semanga huu ankojemu atiajai kuletea kitu. Haya. Ndio hiyo. Miracle. Umetoa pia anko. Usijali, hiyo ni mambo yangu. Check expiry 2022. Kwa 2025. Ni mkebe ime-expire. Kitu iko ndani ni legit.
Decision, one secret, and a storm no one saw coming.
Apparently, the pastor's hoodie has sports betting code embroidered
When trust breaks,
all rent must be paid by M-Pesa or bank transfer.
the fallout is inevitable.
Nauliza, na hii tiri yako iko registered under which name? Kwa jina gani? Madam Transparency. Tuliona Fraud Surprise Limited. Kioski bila stoko.
Next time, the past refuses to stay buried.
Jackpot promotion. Unajua? Ndio jackpot promotion. Naifahamu. Wamekulipia. So, unaweza jienjoy. Nashukuru sana.
Sasa ndio mnajua kugonga. What they don't know won't light their torches.
Mtaa Madness, a choice that changes everything.
We're going to be talking about the rock industry and rock culture in Kenya.
When an artist goes into a studio thinking about a hit song, God walks out of the room. So msanii achaguangi hit. Hakuna msanii. Msanii achaguangi hit. Like even most of the hit songs, some of the songs zinakuanga zile msanii hata apendi kwa hiyo.
Well, that's true. This pressure that is coming in, you need to feed your audience what they want to be fed with, right? What is trending, you need to go as per what is trending. So if you ask a majority of people out here, yes, rock music is there, it is being played, but it's not recognized sana.
Some years back, reggae music used to have a stereotype too. Reggae ilikuwa ya watu wa bangi, ya watu
sijui
kama mtu alikufa, assuming someone died who died in the 90s, someone died in 1995, akifufuka saa hii aone wale watu wanasikia reggae, he'd be very shocked. My goal is to demystify rock in Africa kwa sababu music is music. Guitar, the rock, all music came from Africa. Muziki haina kabila. How do I put muziki haina kabila? In fact, they'd be shocked. The rock music we know as of now came from black people. Wakamba ndio marockstar Kenya, high Kambas. You know the way they play the guitar is just an expression. Yeah, there's Kikuyu, gospel, hard rock, a guy called Kanyaki for example. So it's very misunderstood. Watu wanasema ni ya madevo, ni ya wazungu.
Everywhere GBS.
Now, thank you so much for staying with GBS Television, and this is The Insight. My guest tonight, Madam Davin Akinyi, political expert. Thank you so much for staying with us. And Mr. Moses Nyanduga. It's been a while, Moses. Where have you been?
I'm okay. You know, Emmanuel, in Swahili we say ni shughuli ya hapa na pale. Okay. But we are back.
All right. Before we went for the break, we were talking about the Gen Z and the youth and how their voices have not or have been taken into consideration. So, Madam Davin, what should the government do to satisfactorily incorporate the voices of the youth in their decision?
I think the major issue generally with the youths is the state of the economy of the country. And people are living behind, like the economy is so high and so many people can't afford it, and mostly the youth. So just as I had said, I think the major issue is that the government should provide jobs, opportunity for the youths.
Okay, I don't understand that, because the government definitely cannot employ everyone, but what they can do is to come up with policies that enables a very good environment for what do you call it? When people come up and put up industries and what have you, and those policies, I think, are the ones that the government should put, right?
I think that's what I meant.
Okay.
When I say create job opportunities, you know, personally, I don't have the capability of doing an industry of my own.
Yes.
But the government has some possibility of setting up an industry. If the government decides and says we can do 2 industries per year, let's just say 2 industries per year, I think with the time they'll be absorbing people. And these job opportunities are not only in terms of like industry workers, transporters will get some job to do, and offloaders, yes, there are so many distributors will get something to do. So I think what I mean by job opportunity is generally the government setting up the industries. Then the government can decide, let's do some civic education. So for instance, if they decide this month we want to teach the cobblers, maybe at a subsidized fee or just for free. They do cobblers. The next time maybe it's carpentry, so that our youths can also have the skills. And instead of maybe stealing or something, they can, ask for jobs, put in some work. Once you have skills, you can do something with your talent or your skill and make some money out of it. So that's what I mean generally. I think once that is done, then we can just cooperate with each other.
And Moses, what should the government do in terms of to get to listen to what the young people are saying?
Just like Davin have just said,
yes,
it all works with policy and environment.
Yes.
The government, when I speak about the government in this case, specifically the legislature, they should pass some of the bills which are going to create an adjusting environment for the businesses to thrive. And the major sector in this country, of course, and the major exporter is just the Ministry of Agriculture.
Yeah.
I believe our agriculture sector can employ the proportion of Kenyans which still falls under the unemployment category.
Yes.
I'll say if we can develop our sectors in agriculture, the primary sector of agriculture, secondary through industries, and even tertiary, the so-called extension officers, by training our young people on modern and sustainable agriculture, by constructing several companies, because in fact, even if we are talking about the so-called factories, majority of the raw materials we have in this case are agricultural products. So we can do that, value addition. Then on the housing, let's again balance. We want to see a situation whereby, because we also have people living in Northeastern, we have people living in arid lands. Let's do, if we have a low population density in some of the parts of the country, it's because those areas are underdeveloped still. So let's do something, and let's be fair in our distribution of industries and factories in the country. We don't want to see majority of these institutions within 2 or 3 counties, then the rest of the counties, we don't have any. That is why you see people moving from other parts of the country to other parts of the country.
Okay, I want to steer this conversation to the political spectrum. For the past a year, we have seen Azimio, as we were alluding, that Azimio somehow was the biggest beneficiary in terms of Gen Z protest. But we still have the opposition because we have the DCP, the PLP, Fred Matiang'i, Jubilee, and everybody else. Do you think that they're playing their role effectively, Madam Davin, in terms of putting the government in check?
You're talking about the opposition?
Yes, the opposition.
No, I don't think if they're doing the best. When at first there were two major parties that was there for the election was UDA and ODM.
And Azimio.
Azimio, yes,
Yeah.
Azimio. I think it was good because now there was an opposition. Just the job of the opposition is to keep the government on toes.
Yes,
right? So that, just to ensure that they're doing the right thing. Because, someone is like a threat to you, so you have to do the best thing. But unfortunately, when there was an alliance, there's no opposition. So there's no one to keep the government on its toes. That is why I'm saying there should be an opposition.
There should be, but we have one, Madam Davin. We have the united opposition.
Yes, we do have the united opposition, but I'm talking about the most radical opposition at that moment. Or when we were going to vote, mostly it was the UDA and the Azimio. So the Azimio would check for the first, the first years, they could check, are you guys doing the right thing? Yeah. Is the government behaving in a good manner? Just to keep them on toes. But right now, there's no like a stronger opposition. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, understand. Mr. Moses, Madam Davin seems to see that you guys are not there. Huh?
Emmanuel, I think you should apologize for that. Because this is the reason, Mr. Emmanuel. Yes, we are here as young people. Currently, we don't have the so-called a political-based opposition. It's we, the young people, trying to keep the government on check. This is the reason. When we have this team, Gachagua, Kalonzo, all of these people are just masters of doublespeak. Let's start with Kalonzo. He was there as the vice president. Today he's talking about food security. He was there in the committees. In the executive committees, he was there. What was he doing? We have today Martha Karua talking about extrajudicial killings, brutality, corruption. Martha Karua was there as the cabinet minister for constitutional and justice. So what was she doing at that moment? What was the record? Remember,
we even had a new
that was just,
it was
even after the vestiges of post-election violence, she was in a position to investigate those who killed people in Naivasha. She was in a position to arrest, in fact, those who killed people within Nairobi during that time. Rigathi Gachagua was the deputy president for 2 years. Today, even as he speaks about the coffee reforms, tea reforms, and whatever, he was there. He was even leading some of the committees on the same issues than now. I think, apart from being the doublespeak, these are people who have united as a result of adversity. In fact, they're victims of their own consequences. So that's why they're uniting. In politics, a friend of your enemy is your enemy, of course. And that is why they're uniting. There is nothing here like opposition. It's a situation whereby those who are friends of William Ruto are in Kenya Kwanza government and Azimio. Those who are opposing them are on this side. But they have not united on the basis of interest.
But you realize that the government, or rather the people close to the president, do speak more about them. So it means that their presence is being felt significantly.
Yes, their presence is being felt just because they're political bigwigs. But the truth is that neither the government nor the opposition has our interest at heart. And this is the reason. Those in the opposition were at one time in the government. They did barely nothing. Those in the government, majority of them were at one time in the opposition. Their work was to say, it is in record, when some of the senior government officials we have today, during their time in opposition when they were still in ODM, they were saying, it's the role of the Kenya government to ensure people go to school. Today they're there. What are they doing? They were saying it's the role and right of a Kenyan to assess quality medical care. Today they're there doing barely nothing. Therefore, all these, I'll say, forests are different, monkeys are the same.
Do you believe so?
Yes, that's what I wanted to say. Let me just, as much as, for instance, we are saying, Emmanuel must go, Emmanuel must go.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
No, just an example. If we have to say, Emmanuel must go, Emmanuel must go. and maybe saying, and I'm saying, yes, Emmanuel must go. And you guys are saying, let's vote for Davin.
Yeah.
Let us sit first. Let's sit down and say, what is Davin going to do different? When she was given that chance, what did she do? So let's not just vote blindly that, because she's in the opposition with us. It doesn't mean that, maybe I'm just coming to you guys because at that moment, that is what favors me and not you people. Once I get the position, I might also act the same as Emmanuel did. So let us vote wisely, tafadhali.
Now, there was an election down in the southern part of Africa, and the president there was one term. and here we have one term and two term. Two term being for people who are affiliated with the government, and one term for the Gachagua. I mean, the rhetoric is there. But you realize that when you sit down and ask yourselves, what is it that the opposition has so that we probably can have a look at whatever they're saying. So if we are talking about change, we're changing from what to what, Madam Davin?
Exactly, and that is what let's do this. If we're going to vote in 2027, we have this opportunity. I think those who are saying that Ruto must go, let us just wait for 2027, because apparently there's nothing that can change right now, according to the stakes of probability.
Yes.
If you do your calculations. So I'm not against the government, but then this is what happens. If we're going to vote, don't just vote at it because someone is also helping you. Probably they have some personal beef. And then they're like, let's not vote at it. Oh, now for instance, let me just vote for this person because now that we are against that guy. What is this person going to do? So the major issue is let's vote for change and for leaders who are radical, leaders who are not afraid of anything, people who are free to do so many things and improve so many things. And mostly, and that is what I wanted to say, on the job opportunities, this is what can be done. The government can't help everyone, that you said, but I've given you other options. Major issue, we have, for instance, we have an Airbnb in Migori, Legoland. It's a very good Airbnb. Okay. You guys can visit when in Migori. Right, but then the major issue is, if you subsidize, probably if the government subsidizes and says, Kabaka, we can do this for you. Yeah. Then at least there's some percentage up also, that guy can say, let me just employ one or two people to cover that. Okay. So let us try and give, as the government, let's try and give the business owners or people who are starting a friendly environment to do their work, and so that they can employ more people. That's why you get into an office, the office needs more people, but then there's so little. Yeah, okay. Yes.
What's your parting shot as we conclude this conversation?
My part is, let the government kindly subsidize for business owners. Let's encourage people. That is what the government should be doing. Not that you're starting a business, they care them. No. Let's just help them to grow their business so that they can employ more people. Or probably tell them, we're doing this for you, kindly employ more youth in your space.
All right. What about you, Moses, as we conclude this conversation?
I'll conclude in reference to what happened yesterday in Malawi.
Yeah.
I'll say the wind of change is sweeping across the continent of Africa. Young people and old people of this continent are so tired to be treated as children of a lesser God. They're so tired to be slaves in their own country. So tired to live on a lonely island of poverty within a vast ocean of material prosperity. Kenya must never be excluded in this case. We are here and we must fight for the change. When we are chanting one term, it's not the president only. It's also that MCA who is using public office resources for his personal gain. It's that MP who will only be seen during campaign time, who lives in Nairobi, but is leading people in Nyanza. Now, as I say this, the issue of employment in this case is a marriage. It's our responsibility, apart from the government itself, to also provide an environment. We must love our people. We must also learn to coexist with the people. If somebody from Kiambu opens a factory in Kakamega, let's support this person. He's a fellow Kenyan. Tribalism must never be exercised in this forum. If anybody who is a Muslim comes into your area to promote the business, let's stop saying, there's a Kikuyu, there's a Somali, nothing like that. Let's love each other, and country called Kenya will be great. I believe so.
Yeah, indeed. Patriotism is one of the best important things that we can always do as a country. And as we conclude this conversation here tonight, the conversation does not end here. It continues in our social media platform, X, Facebook, Instagram, at GBS Television at Emmanuel Ouma. You can always find me there. And of course, thank you so much for my guest, political expert, of course, senior, very senior, Madam Davin. Thank you so much for gracing our show tonight. And Mr. Moses Nyanduga, of course, a senior political expert, and I don't know if you'll be vying, but we'll talk about that later. Thank you so much for coming to the show. Yes, and we'll leave it there. My name is Emmanuel Ouma. Until next time, next week, same day, same time. Good evening.
Everywhere, GBS.